Hey guys, it's Mrs. Dixon. By now you should have received your ruler in the mail from me. If you didn't, it's on its way, so it'll be there soon. I do want to pay attention to your ruler. I did write some things on your ruler, and on one side I wrote the word inches, because this side of your ruler measures in inches. And as you saw me open it up there, you've noticed on the other side there's a different measurement on the other side. This is a metric measurement. We're not going to focus on the metric measurements yet. Let's stay focused on our customary measurements of inches. So we're going to do some things with our ruler today to help us better understand our measurements. We've been focusing on inches, feet, and yards. And I want you to understand that this one ruler that I gave you will measure all of those. All right, let's focus on inches. Of course, from the 0 to the 1, we know that the top of our finger from the beginning to the end, the distance across the top, is about 1 inch. Now, what is a foot, though? If you open up your ruler, let's find the 1 foot mark. 12 inches is actually 1 foot. So if we come to this 12, pick up a writing tool of some sort, and we want to put a box around this 12, because we want to let everybody know that this 12 is an important number. And we're going to write 1 foot next to that 12, so that we know that 12 inches is 1 foot. So if 12 inches is 1 foot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh, keep going. I bet I might have another 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, look at that. And I know 12 plus 12 is 24. So guess what? That 24 is a really important number on this ruler also. So let's take our tool and we're going to put a box around that 24. And we're going to give this a special name also. We're going to call this 2 feet. Wait a minute. 1 foot, 2 feet. Oh, it's just like me. If I have 1 foot, I call it a foot. If I'm talking about both of my feet, I'm going to call them feet. All right. I wonder if I have room for another foot on this ruler. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Look at that. There's another foot. Oh, I'm almost out of room here, so I'm going to write 3 feet. But guess what? Remember I said that we could measure inches, feet, and yards with the same ruler? This number right here, whoa, runaway ruler, this number right here actually has 3 different measurements. We could call this measurement 36 inches. We could call this measurement 3 feet. Or we could also call this measurement 1 yard. So if you take your ruler around the house with you today and you start measuring some things, and you get to find something that is 12 inches, you should know that it's 12 inches or 1 foot long. If you find something that is exactly or close to 24 inches, you would know it's 24 inches or 2 feet long. And if you find something that's 36 inches, maybe a big, big dog, you would know that that is 36 inches or 3 feet or 1 yard. Now this ruler is really cool because this is a standard ruler, meaning that it measures out to 12 inches. This is a yardstick because it measures to 36 inches, 3 feet or 1 yard. But this is also similar to a tape measure, which means I can use this to measure things that are not flat. Like I have this roll of tape here. I could measure this roll of tape. By taking my tape measure, I'm going to put it on my roll of tape, and I can wrap my tape measure around, and I'm going to line up my ruler, and here's my 0 mark, and I can see that the 0 mark lines up with one of my special numbers. So, my goodness, this roll of tape right here, look how big it is. It's not that big. It fits in my hand. But this roll of tape is 1 foot around. because as I take this tape measure and I wrap it around, there's my 0. It comes up to 12 inches or 1 foot. So with this really cool tape measure, you can go around your house and measure things that are round as well as things that are flat. But let's review our most important things we need to know about our ruler. 1 inch, 12 inches or 1 foot, 24 inches is 2 feet, 36 inches is the same as 3 feet, or 1 yard. All right, let's get into our work for today. Go back to my first page. Here we go. So we're going to look at some things around our house, because it says our classroom, but we're going to look at some things around our house that are about 1 inch long. And I happen to have some stamps. So I see some stamps, and my stamp is about 1 inch long. So I'm going to create a text box here, and I'm going to write a stamp. And if I wanted to get super crafty, I could even draw a stamp. But we're more worried about time right now than anything else. So let me click off of that, and I can move my text box down. What do I have that's about 1 foot? You know what? I know that a roll of tape is 1 foot around. I know that because I just measured it. And what do you have around your house that's about a yard? You know what I see that's about a yard? I'm looking at it right now. My door is about, 1 yard wide. So it's about 1 yard across from one side of my door to the other side of my door. So look around you right now and see if you can find some things that are 1 inch, a foot, or a yard, long or wide or tall. Let's move on. Going on to our next page, we're going to look at our measurement tools again. You already know the ruler. We talked about it. We've talked about what a foot is, that a foot is 12 inches long. And we've talked about a yardstick. A yardstick is equal to 3 feet or to 36 inches. And we have already talked about a tape measure, that it's a measuring tape that you can actually fold and you can measure things that are round. So let's think about this. Would you measure the length of the school building in inches or in yards? The school building. Wow. That would take a lot of fingers curled up and placed side by side, wouldn't it? So I would much rather measure this in yards. Let me move this down. Yards, because it would take B-E-C-A. Spell it right, Mrs. Dixon. Because it would take too many inches to measure a building. Let me open this up. I said yards because it would take too many inches to measure a building. All right, let's look over here. Match each object with a reasonable estimate of its length. So a hammer. You may have seen your dad using a hammer around the house, or maybe your mom using one. Could you pick up a hammer and use it to tap in a nail that you're holding in your hand if it was a yard long? Well, I don't think I can hold my arm out that far. So I'm going to say that this hammer could not be a yard long. What about an inch? Could you hammer something that was 1 inch long? I don't think that I could even hold the hammer with my fingers if it was only 1 inch. So I'm going to say that my hammer is about 1 foot long. What about a paper clip? Wow, it'd have to be a lot of paper to put together if it was a whole entire yard long. I don't think I would be a yard long. So a paper clip would have to be about 1 inch long. And then a window. All that's left is yard. And it wouldn't make sense for a window to be teeny tiny, like 1 inch. And it wouldn't make too much sense for it to be small, like 1 foot either. So the only thing that makes sense is for it to be a yard long. Now let's look at your tasks for today. You need to complete pages 3 and 4. And as you look at these, you'll notice that you're going to be measuring some things today that you actually have around your house. You have a writing tool, you have a table, and you have a door. You need to decide if it's better to measure this in inches or in yards, and tell me the tool that you would use. Would you use a ruler, a yardstick, or a measuring tape to measure these items? You're going to estimate the pencil. Would you estimate it in inches? I think so. Your table? Yeah, I agree. I'd measure it in feet. And your door? Definitely in yards. So you're going to tell me what tool you would use in this next column over here. Would you use a ruler, a yardstick, or a measuring tape? And then on the last page, when we come to it, all right, circle the real object that is about 4 feet in length. Then you want to explain how to use a yardstick to measure the length of an object. And find an object in your house that you estimate measures about 2 feet long. Draw it, and what tool would you use to measure it? And then our last question, I like this question, it's a challenge. John sets 2 of the same real objects next to each other. Together they have a length of about 4 feet. Which is the object Jan uses? So you're going to have to choose 2 different objects here. If you laid these things side by side, together they would measure about 4 feet. All right, guys, good luck. Make sure you reach out to me if you have any questions.